Hi, okay, this is discussion 10, and I'm just gonna go through some of the questions and answer kind of what I learned. As I explored this section, I definitely thought of reasons. I feel very lucky to be able to teach um, in the ag ed portion of school with like that technical side of things and being able to have um, a little bit more of those project-based learning activities, maybe even inquiry-based, depending on what you're teaching, what you're working with, students that ask questions. You can definitely dive into those things a little bit easier, I feel like, in the ag ed department, just kind of based around that agriculture and the hands-on, the research. So I really think that being able to teach ag ed is going to help a lot with like the personalized learning as well as the blended learning. Um, Something I definitely thought about personalized learning environment is um, give the kids a basis on what you would like to accomplish. Kind of like, okay, we want to do a project this semester. We have the greenhouse. Um, we need to create an irrigation system, and we need to decide what we want to plant. And then let the kids help decide on how to design that irrigation system, how to use it, produce it, all that kind of thing, make it work. And then what they want to plant. Some would maybe want to do flowers. Some students would prefer vegetables. Maybe somebody would want to try some very unique seeds from somewhere not close to where we are, or where I'm teaching. Just kind of those kind of things that you can definitely use in a personalized learning environment. And then just make sure it's blended in the way of giving kids all those different opportunities to learn different things using scientific methods, writing, reflections, mathematics. I mean, all of those things could be very well established into a project, um, like the example I just used. So that was I feel very lucky to be able to do that. And for the Expand My Horizon, what I did is I just looked up the TED Ed. I watched the video, a video that I found about a library and how they created, um, how they, I guess, made this library a new space in the New York schools and how that kind of happened and how the students benefited from that. It definitely would be a very cool resource to have to explain a lot of different things, and it would definitely be um, a good platform to go look at different videos to share with students as they are learning different topics. I really enjoyed that. For 10B, okay, I loved these in the way of we've used a lot of the Topia and kind of learned a lot about that, but it was like a mixture between resources and news surrounding education. And for me, like um, being pre professional in the student in the education, just knowing kind of what's going on in education could be really helpful. As long as I also had a teacher that I TA'd for this last semester who would do news you can use every day at the beginning of class. And so she would share different articles related to agriculture, education, college kids, those kind of things. And I really think that would be a cool way to introduce that. This also was very neat. I know that a lot of schools, sometimes as they have a one-on-one with technology, won't let a lot of students have certain apps, but being able to know what apps you could use for different kinds of activities would be very helpful and cuts down a ton of time on that. So I actually saved this image in my Google Drive to help with that. And the Expand My Horizon I used was just this app crawler right here. I was set to Android, so I had to definitely go to the iOS and kind of look at those kind of things. And just as I kind of explored, it was really just helpful to have it all there in one place and be able to go through there, and if there is apps that you find up here that you would like to get, then here's a fast way to do that. Okay, so this was very interesting to just go through and kind of learn about. This method, I didn't know that this was the name of it, or this is where it came from, but these steps were something that we've been focused on with my class with Tyson Sorensen, and he uses it like the gaining attention would be like an interest approach, and then you want to go into the objectives, and then you want to do any recall or any prior knowledge that you could pull for the students that would connect to this lesson that you're going to teach, and then so on and so on and so on. So I've already kind of used this method a lot, and in my lesson plan later on, you can see that this method is very present in the content. And so that was definitely very nice. This one, the ADDIE, was a little bit newer for me. I could definitely see how it could work. I would love to use it in a project setting. They design, they develop, they implement it, then they evaluate and they analyze. So again, kind of going back to the idea of like an irrigation system in the greenhouse, having the students create something like that, the ADDIE model would be a very easy, quick way for them to do that and to kind of go through that. I actually watched this video on those 9 different steps of instruction, and it just really reminded me of kind of already how I like to line out my lesson plans and how I like to do those kind of things. This was very interesting to me. This kind of goes back to what I was saying in the on the first day on 10A, in just how in some classes everything is very particular, like these silos, but in Ag Ed, I think if you focus on the real objectives and the themes of the class, a plant science class can have all of these different connections to it and can be very well adapted to all the different kinds of standards. And I think that's why Ag Ed has very particular standards, or not particular, I guess, but they definitely go through a lot of different things. I know a lot of classes start out with like learning about agriculture, learning about FFA, and then you go into the more particulars in each of those different things. So I feel like being able to teach in different Ag Ed settings can definitely help with this, as well as project-based learning can help with it a lot. And I watched this project-based learning video here, and I really have grown to love project-based learning. I really didn't understand what it was a few years ago, but as I continue to learn about it, I know that I would love to benefit from something like that, and that would be something totally up my alley, like being able to organize a project, come up with questions, all that kind of thing. So I'm definitely excited to see that benefit my students as well, and be able to incorporate that into my lessons. So my lesson plan, I went ahead and turned that in, and then I just went through this guide, kind of read through this article about creating those lesson plans. And I think the biggest thing, as I was listening to those reading through those, was lesson plans need to be organized and also personalized for your learning environment and your students. I know that if a math teacher created a lesson plan, it would be a lot harder for me to implement that kind of, even the structure, or that kind of thing into an Ag Ed program, just because of, one, the content's different, obviously, but how the structure works will probably be different as well. So that was definitely kind of a thought that I had as I was studying that. If you have any questions or any thoughts on these things, please let me know. If you have any opinions about what I stated, I'd love to hear that. And yeah, thanks for watching.